This is the CBS Evening News. Bob Schieffer sitting in tonight for Dan Rather. What appears to be good news in the case of Gerald Seib, the Wall Street Journal reporter who's been under arrest these past 4 days in Iran. Iran radio now says that Seib will be allowed to leave. CBS News correspondent Bill Redeker, who's just back from Iran himself, has our report.
Sources in Tehran told CBS News today that Gerald Seib is in good condition and is expected to be out of Iran before the weekend.
Mr. Rafsanjani, I'm Jerry Seib with the Wall Street Journal.
The journalist was one of nearly 100 foreign reporters allowed to visit Iran for the first time in nearly a year. It was an opportunity for Tehran to show off its recent battlefront successes against Iraq. But Saturday at the former Hilton Hotel in North Tehran, Seib was arrested and accused of being a spy, a charge Washington has flatly denied.
We await confirmation.
U.S. officials have been unable to confirm Seib's expected release, and so his brothers in Kansas City are cautious.
Obviously, the reports coming out of Iran are good, but none of them has been officially sanctioned.
So you got to be optimistic, but cautiously.
Iran's UN ambassador says Seib has been turned over to the Swiss embassies. He reacted angrily when asked why a reporter had been treated so poorly.
Others have been treated properly and hospitably. They have seen those sites and those places that they wanted to see, and they left safely. This man must have done something wrong.
But Western diplomatic sources in Tehran disagree. With the Ayatollah Khomeini in poor health, a complex and ruthless power struggle is underway. Seib, they say, may be a pawn in this battle. His arrest, an attempt by hardline fundamentalists to embarrass the more pragmatic elements in Iran.
They're saying, you see, remember what Ayatollah Khomeini said back in the days of the embassy siege, all these Americans are really spies, and you can't trust them, and you cannot have détente with the United States.
This is not the first time the hardliners have tried to embarrass the more pragmatic elements in Iran. In fact, the last time was just this past November when they leaked the story of the arms deal with the United States. Bob?
You know, Bill, one of the things that the Iranians were saying was that Seib obtained some unusual military information. Is that even possible, do you think?
I think it's a cover story, pure and simple. The press tours of Iran are always very tightly controlled. He had no better access to information than any of the rest of us. The Iranians pretty much show you what they want you to see and no more.
Okay, thanks, Bill. CBS News in Rome has obtained a prosecutor's report tracing the 1985 Rome airport massacre to Syria. The document also confirms that Middle Eastern terrorists have now branched out and have agents and arms throughout Europe. Derek Blakely has that.
According to an Italian prosecutor's report, the 1985 Rome airport massacre, which left 16 dead, was planned in Syria, carried out by Palestinian terrorists ready to strike anywhere in Europe. Indictments are being sought for 3 people. Khalid Ibrahim Mahmoud, captured the day of the attack, and 2 others still at large, including Abu Nidal, head of the notorious terrorist gang. Mahmoud took investigators to a park in Rome where he said he hid weapons for the airport attack. And he told police Abu Nidal members have blended into the fabric of European society as so-called sleeping agents.
Terrorists, sleeping agents who are waiting when the time comes for the order from the Middle East to go into terrorist operation.
In West Germany alone, there are believed to be 3,000 supporters of radical Arab groups. Ali Abbas Hamidi, brother of TWA hijack suspect Mohammed Ali Hamidi, lived quietly in southwest Germany for 8 years and was granted citizenship after he married a German.
It's a simple way of marrying into Europe, marrying into Moldom.
Abbas's wife said she had no idea her husband could have been involved in terrorism. But after his arrest, Abbas directed police to a cache of liquid explosives near his home, which authorities destroyed. And in Britain, Nazar Hindawi used his pregnant Irish girlfriend in a brutal and callous act, tricking her into carrying a bomb that could have blown up 375 El Al passengers, including her. Even tougher immigration controls won't eliminate the dangers posed by sleeping agents. European authorities say they can't treat every immigrant as a potential terrorist. Derek Blakely, CBS News, Bonn.
One of the most sought-after drug dealers in the world was arrested in Colombia today and put on a plane to the United States to face charges. Rita Braver reports.
Drug kingpin Carlos Lehder had been a fugitive since 1984. hiding in the Colombian hills, going public only once in this 1985 television interview where he bragged about his wealth and his power. But last night, Colombian police found his secret hideout near Medellin, and after a gunfight, he was arrested. He's now been turned over to U.S. authorities and is on a plane heading to the U.S.
Our government's change in policy the last year or two towards some of the drug-producing countries may be finally striking home, and that is to cut off all assistance if they don't cooperate with us.
Lehder faces 2 indictments here for allegedly leading a cartel that's produced 80% of the world's cocaine since 1978, thousands of tons entering the U.S. He's considered one of the most ruthless of the Colombian drug lords, accused of ordering not only drug world murders in this country, but also a brutal series of attacks in Colombia, on the state Supreme Court, on the Minister of Justice, and on dozens of other officials who've dared to oppose him. Colombia wanted Lehder out because of security risks. Justice Department officials say he could provoke narco-terrorist attacks in this country, but putting him in jail is worth the risk. Rita Braver, CBS News, Washington.
President Reagan today invited skipper Dennis Conner and his crew to the White House for a victory celebration. They'll be bringing the America's Cup back home from Australia, and Barry Peterson reports.
The Americans led from the start. The last race not so much a workout as a walkaway. The Australians owned the America's Cup until this moment. The celebrating started at the finish. Skipper Dennis Conner, at the helm when America lost the Cup, is now the man who won it back. The Australians lined the harbor as Stars and Stripes took one victory lap after another. Afternoon in Australia was early morning in Conner's hometown of San Diego, and for Stars and Stripes fans, it was a night to remember. The American war cry after losing the Cup last time was, "What goes down must come up." At dockside, it was the winning skipper who went down. But the cost of winning the Cup has gone anything but down. The victory by Stars and Stripes cost roughly $20 million, most of it for high technology to design and build the fastest boat.
I'm sure there's an awful lot more to go, and if it's expensive, that's just we're going to have to pay the price to be competitive.
The rich man's sport has become the sport of rich nations, rich corporations. The Australians are already raising $35 million to win the Cup back in 3 years. Other countries, even the Japanese, say they'll be there too.
I suspect that we've only just started. Probably the only country that hasn't really put their toe in the water in terms of an expression of interest are the Russians. But just wait, they'll be there.
Today, it was the victory of the boat painted Gunsmoke blue. Next time, the rest of the world will be gunning for the Americans. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Fremantle.
And later on tonight's CBS Evening News, you'll see the surprise mission carried out in the United States today by this unit. And Liberace died today, and we'll look at a life that included 4 decades of spectacular showmanship.
Fans, please.
Mr. Garfield, welcome to Embassy Suites Hotel.
My room.
Oh, all our rooms are really 2-room suites for the price of a single room.
Beautiful. Don't change a thing.
The living room, sir.
Love what you've done with this room.
The bedroom.
This is great. I need my space.
And of course, you'll want to take advantage of Embassy Suites' free breakfast.
Food.
Served every morning.
At Embassy Suites, you don't have to be a fat cat to enjoy the sweet life.
I resemble that remark.
Coldwell Banker is America's largest full-service real estate company. And these days, you don't get bigger unless you do it better. Coldwell Banker, the home sellers, a member of the Sears Financial Network.
A woman in my position can't worry about dentures coming loose.
Fixodent and forget it. Fixodent helps fix loose spots for a strong hold that lasts longer than any leading cream.
Let's do it again.
Use Fixodent and forget it.
President Reagan, as expected, lost his first veto showdown with the new Congress today. The Senate joined the House in overriding the president's veto of the Clean Water Bill, a bill the president has now tried to kill twice. The Clean Water Bill provides $20 billion for sewage treatment plants and for cleaning up polluted waterways. The House voted against a pay raise today for federal officials, including members of Congress, but then figured out a way to keep the money. Eric Engberg has our report.
Frankly, I think we look real silly in front of the American people.
That was the prevailing view as the U.S. House of Representatives knotted itself into parliamentary contortions which had the net effect of giving members of Congress a pay raise while letting them strike the pose that they were against it.
The vote no is also an opportunity to take the dough.
Here's how. A presidential plan to raise the pay of federal workers, including a 15% jump for Congress to almost $90,000 a year, could be stopped only by a vote in Congress, and it had to come before yesterday, the official deadline. Yesterday, the House purposely quit early, missing the deadline. Today, members voted ostentatiously against the raise, as legal experts proclaimed that a vote after the deadline was meaningless except for PR value.
The hypocrisy is unbelievable.
Congress is notoriously craven about facing up to pay raises.
Unless we can somehow ask the Almighty to intervene, I don't know who can set the pay schedules for public officials.
The finagling comes out of fear the public will buy election year ads like this one.
And he voted himself a pay raise 7 times.
But the artful ducking by the House didn't solve that.
This is going to be with us like lice on somebody's hair, with members and leaders having to scratch away for months and months.
Analysts predict the House will now look for some legal way to kill the raise, this time for real. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
The commission that President Reagan appointed to investigate what's wrong with the National Security Council has decided to interview the president for a second time sometime next week. No word on what subjects will be covered. The chairman of the House committee investigating the Iran-Contra scandal said today that the panel has already issued about 100 subpoenas for witnesses and documents. Chairman Lee Hamilton of Indiana said he hopes to get testimony from the Israelis and leaders of the Contra rebels. He said he does not expect hearings to begin for several more weeks. Greyhound today made thousands of people an offer they just couldn't refuse. CBS News correspondent Bruce Hall has our report.
The line stretched for blocks in a dozen cities across the South. Nearly 6,000 people in Atlanta, 3,000 in Houston, 5,000 in New Orleans.
Or to New York.
They jammed the Greyhound bus terminals, seeking some of the lowest bargain fares ever offered. 59 cents for a ticket anywhere in the country. $1.18 round trip.
It's unbelievable, but what we went through to get here is unbelievable too.
Even though the sale only lasted an hour, everyone was able to get a ticket.
I think it's great. I'm going to see my grandmama after 15 years.
I want to know what Trailway is going to do.
This through service to Miami is now ready for passenger boarding at gate number 2.
Both major bus companies are desperately trying to win back passengers they lost to the airlines.
We're using similar tactics to the airlines now. We're deep discounting our seats, and it's attracting more people back to us.
However, that is going to be difficult. The bus industry has fallen on hard times.
The ridership has been steadily declining, so the bus lines have been reducing their routes, reducing the frequency.
They can never match the speed of the airlines. It still takes 55 hours to go from Atlanta to Los Angeles. But for 59 cents, a lot of people are willing to leave the driving to Greyhound. Bruce Hall, CBS News, Atlanta.
Armando Fernandez, the one-time captain in Chile's secret police, pleaded guilty today in Washington in the 1976 murder of Chilean diplomat Orlando Letelier. The military government in Chile at first refused to extradite Fernandez, who was one of 3 men indicted in the case, but he agreed to come here in return for federal protection and a reduced charge. He'll be sentenced in April.
In the morning, in the evening, Carnival's got the fun. Not much money, but oh honey, Carnival's got the fun. It's such a good time, we're spreading the news. 'Cause there's just no time like a Carnival cruise. Sunny weather, all together, Carnival's got the fun.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day cruise on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
Now, colorful stain and tough polyurethane protection in one. Polyshades by Minwax for a beautiful finish in half the time.
Minwax makes wood beautiful.
We asked 1,000 doctors what would they take for the minor aches, pains, and stiffness of arthritis. Extra strength Tylenol or Bayer?
Bayer.
Doctors chose Bayer 3-to-1 over extra strength Tylenol. Bayer, the wonder drug that works wonders.
The New Jersey courtroom battle over the custody of baby M is expected to set legal precedents in the issue of surrogate motherhood, but today it was the human drama of a mother's death threats that dominated testimony. We have a report from CBS News correspondent Steve Young.
In the first part of the historic trial, the argument was whether it was legal for Mary Beth Whitehead, the surrogate mother, to sign a $10,000 contract to bear a child for someone else. This week, testimony turned to what's in the best interest of the 9-month-old infant, baby M. Today, the judge who will decide the case heard an emotional conversation between the biological father, William Stern, and Mary Beth Whitehead, who threatened to kill baby M and commit suicide.
I want my daughter back.
Forget it, Bill. I'll tell you right now, I'd rather see me and her dead before you get her.
Don't, Mary Beth, please, don't.
I'm gonna do it, Bill. I'm gonna do it. You pushed me to it. Now you're telling me my children can't get their house back? I've done this to everybody's life.
Wait.
Whitehead was speaking last summer from the Florida hideout, where authorities found her and returned the child to Stern and his wife, Elizabeth. The tape was made surreptitiously by the Sterns.
I gave her life, I can take her life away. If that's what you want,
No,
that's
Mary
what I'll
Beth.
do.
No, Mary Beth, wait.
That's what I'm gonna do, Bill.
Please.
You pushed me.
Please, don't.
It gives me a chill every time I hear that tape.
The judge's ruling on the legality of surrogate motherhood will be the first in a U.S. courtroom. Further complicating the painful case, Mary Beth Whitehead's parents, baby M's natural grandparents, say that regardless of the outcome, they'll sue for visitation rights. Steve Young, CBS News, New York.
Some American school children got a patriotism lesson today they may not soon forget. CBS News correspondent James McManus has that.
It is 10:45 this morning in Knox County, Tennessee. At Doyle High School, 1,000 students are suddenly called to assembly. They do not know why. The school principal is a little worried. She tells the students to expect some noise.
It's not for real. The weapons that these soldiers have in their hands are real, but the bullets are not. Thank God. This is America.
This is the Delta Force of the Tennessee Army National Guard. They came to urge students to respect their country's flag and to shock them into awareness of the dangers of communism.
Isn't it great? Isn't it good to be an American? The ball is in your court right now. You don't accept this challenge today and march forward, then America could be lost in the future. Hip, hip!
Delta Force has visited more than 20 Tennessee schools with advance approval by school officials. Their tactics simulate the defense of a high school under attack by invaders. The National Guard says its motive is simple.
Patriotism. Patriotism.
I think it's great they picked our school to do this for.
I think the message is plainly what the gentleman said, is when you see the flag, take notice it's not just a piece of cloth.
But Kim Ogle is not convinced that automatic weapons fire teaches anything about patriotism.
I think freedom is more in the heart more than in the guns and chains and stuff.
At Knoxville's Fulton High School this afternoon, students were watching a movie.
This is only a scenario, but it could have been for real.
James McManus, CBS News, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Freedent's the one.
If you've got dental work, you've got 3 great reasons to chew Freedent gum. You know Freedent won't stick to your dental work, and Freedent freshens your breath. But maybe you didn't know that Freedent moistens your mouth. So if you hate a dry mouth like I do, chew Freedent.
Freedent's the one that took the stink out of gum, and Freedent moistens your mouth. Yeah, moistens your mouth, and freshens your breath while you chew.
Non-stick Freedent moistens your mouth and freshens your breath.
Is your breath a little strong?
A little embarrassing?
Oh.
Are you tired of avoiding the problem? Ooh. Then have a Milk-Bone dog biscuit. Every delicious crunch of Milk-Bone helps scrape away plaque and food particles that can lead to bad breath. In fact, no other leading dog biscuit gets your teeth naturally cleaner and whiter or your breath fresher. Get Milk-Bone dog biscuits because naturally every dog wants fresher breath.
In a move that could have implications nationwide, the state of Illinois took steps today to force down interest rates on credit cards. Frank Courier has our report.
This year, more than 75 million Americans will say charge it with MasterCard or Visa. But a consumer revolt is building against the banks that charge up to 20% interest on credit card purchases.
They suck it to you every chance they get, and I really object to it.
It's illegal that they're stealing your money.
While over the past 6 years, bank prime lending rates and the interest charged on home, business, and auto loans have dropped 50% and more, the interest charged on bank credit cards remains high.
I think, personally, it borders on loan sharking.
Illinois Treasurer Jerry Cosentino, in protest, today canceled all state accounts totaling nearly $2 billion at Chicago's First National Bank, the nation's fifth largest issuer of bank cards with one of the highest interest rates, 19.8%.
I won't continue to do business with them or any other bank who wants to continue to be that selfish and to gouge the consumer.
As a major national issuer, we feel that we're at a level that's appropriate for the marketplace.
And the marketplace is now flooded with bank cards.
Give me possibilities. MasterCard. Master the possibilities.
But for many consumers, the possibilities include never paying. Bank card debts now total $84 billion, and interest rates, bankers say, help make up the difference.
They all wink at each other. They all say, you don't lower the rates, I won't lower the rates, and we'll keep making profits.
As Congress prepares to debate the broad issue this month, 9 states already have passed their own laws, which include limiting interest, cutting cardholder fees, and other measures.
This is a situation in which the financial institutions have got to recognize that they're fighting with their most important customers, the middle class.
With pressure from state treasurers and threats of regulation, many banks may have no choice. Cut rates or lose customers, analysts say, in a growing arena of middle-class activism and competition. Frank Courier, CBS News, Chicago.
For the second time this year, the Texas prison population has gone above levels allowed by law, so authorities said today no new prisoners could be admitted until there's room for them. And until then, criminals headed for prison will be kept in county jails.
Introducing Metaprin when you haven't got time for the pain of arthritis.
Haven't got time for the pain. No, I haven't got time for the pain anymore.
Metaprin has ibuprofen, the prescription ingredient recommended by doctors 2-to-1 over aspirin for body pain, including minor arthritis pain. And it's safer to your stomach than aspirin.
I haven't got time for the pain.
When your body hasn't got time for the pain, new Metaprin from the makers of Tylenol products.
Give me some raz. Give me some raz. Raspberry. 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 Give me some raz. Raspberry. Give me raspberry. Raspberry.
You'll go wild over Riuniti Royal Raspberry.
Give me some raz.
The taste of fresh raspberries and natural Riuniti. It's not a watered-down cooler.
Give me some raz. Raspberry. Ooh, raspberry.
And try natural peach.
Mrs. Walter Payton on Wheaties.
When I told my husband Walter they changed his Wheaties, he acted like a bear. Don't worry, sweetness. They're still low in sugar. All it did was take out 25% of the sodium. They still give you energy you need to pick yourself up on Sunday afternoons. And me, energy to pick up after you on Sunday nights.
Wheaties, yeah, what the big boys eat.
Cute box.
Liberace died today. He was 67. He'd been gravely ill for days. His publicist said that the cause of death was emphysema and anemia. There were published reports he had contracted AIDS, but when asked about that, his doctor said he lived a private life and deserves to die that way. CBS News correspondent Terry Drinkwater has a look back now at a show business career that spanned 4 decades.
They called him Mr. Showmanship, and he worked hard at it for more than 40 years.
His Polish-born mother back in Milwaukee had taught little Władzu Valentino Liberace how to play the piano by age 4. He started in the classics, a protege of Paderewski, but his career took a sharp left turn. Somehow he figured out that with a candelabra and a side order of schmaltz, he could make it big, and he did with his own TV show in the 50s.
Actually, Ed, I'm very...
By the time he was featured on Person to Person, Liberace had already cultivated an image of glorious excess, Hollywood style.
I can remember being very, very poor once and making a promise to myself that if I could do anything about it with God's help, I'd never be poor again.
Over the years, his phenomenal success bankrolled ever more glitter and glitz until he knowingly and joyfully became a parody of himself.
Why don't I slip out and get into something more spectacular?
In recent years, he said his flamboyance had made the stage safe for others with a flair for the outrageous, like Michael Jackson or Boy George.
I think people should be allowed to express their lifestyle in whatever way they wish.
Critics sometimes belittled him, but never the sellout crowds.
Oh, I feel like the Pope.
What the audiences got was a chance to spend time in his fantasy, where all was surface and every surface sparkled. His sister once said, he just didn't much like the real world.
I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you.
Terry Drinkwater, CBS News, Hollywood.
And that's the news. I'm Bob Schieffer, sitting in tonight for Dan Rather. Good night.
You're on your way.
Kids and science can really get together in the right kind of place. So Dow has developed and funded the Touch Tech Laboratory here at Impression 5 in Lansing, Michigan.
In this particular experiment, we're going to take a solid out of 2 liquids.
It's a hands-on museum that puts the wonders of science at a child's fingertips.
Here you go, PJ.
Who knows what that could lead to?
Dow lets you do great things.
Piedmont Airlines presents a phone number so valuable, you'll never forgive yourself if you don't write it down.
The pen.
This is the number that'll get you airfares so low, you'll find them hard to believe.
It's got to be a pen, right? Hang on, we'll look.
And you'll also get Piedmont service that's been rated among the best in the industry. So call Piedmont today.
I got it.
What could be simpler?
Baby, we're gonna baby you.
Kleenex introduces their brand new baby, softer, thicker Kleenex tissue.
We're gonna cuddle you, cradle you.
New Kleenex will baby you because it's so much softer and thicker, even the box is taller.
Baby, we're gonna care for you, comfort you, baby you.
Softer, thicker Kleenex tissue. It's the new way.
Kleenex says bless you.
Tomorrow's war on cancer. An arsenal of sophisticated new treatments takes aim. Dr. Bob Arnott in a special series tomorrow on the CBS Morning News.
This is CBS.
The TV8 News, live at 6. Next.
Meet the new herbicide that replaces Bladex and Atrazine in corn. Meet new Marksman. Marksman blasts tough velvet leaves. Marksman kills triazine-resistant weeds, too. Replace Bladex and Atrazine with new Marksman for more consistent control of broadleaf weeds in corn. We guarantee it. Marksman, because you can't afford to miss.
Most people don't do much more than sit on their money because they simply don't realize how much more they could do. As a result, they miss a lot of opportunities, and that's too bad. Especially now when Edward D. Jones and Company has so many smart, safe ways for your money to make more money. Of course, you could just ignore your opportunities.